Hey everybody, welcome to my first ever freight rate and capacity news update. All right, so this is the update on the market where we are. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look at van, reefer, flatbed rates and how they're trending. And we're also going to look at the spot market from the perspective of load to truck ratio. We'll also take a look at fuel. I'm going to try to make this short. This is the first time I've ever done it. If this is something that you want to see on a weekly or more often basis, then make sure you hit the like button, make sure you comment, let me know. And again, this is a bit of an experiment, but I did want to make sure that I tried to put this out here for you guys because I think this has some value, right? So here we go. Okay, so let's start with van rates. You should be able to see them somewhere here on the screen. February van was $2.06 per mile average. March was $2.01 per mile with a little bit of downward pressure. And then in April, it was $1.99 per mile. And you can see here that May, we rose up to $2.01 per mile so far for van rates. All right, so let's move on to flatbeds. It's $2.49 per mile in February, $2.51 per mile in March, $2.52 average per mile in April, and so far in May, we're up to $2.53 for flatbeds. So that's a good sign. Rates are going up. All right, and then on the reefer side, you can see here in February, $2.42 per mile, March, $2.36 average per mile, April, $2.33 per mile, so we went down a little bit, but in May so far we've bounced back, and currently we're showing $2.40 per mile for refrigerated rates. Okay, so now let's take a look at the rates for van, reefer, flatbed on a regional basis. We'll start out with van rates. You can see here, the Northeast is $1.74 per mile average. The Southeast is $2 per mile. The Southwest, including Texas, is $2.01 per mile. The Pacific Northwest, $1.99 per mile for van rates. And the Midwest coming in at the top with $2.10 per mile for van rates. Okay, so now let's take a look at the flatbed rates. All right, in the Northeast, it's $2.47 average per mile. The Southeast, $2.67 per mile. The Southwest, including Texas, $2.52. The Pacific Northwest and West Coast is $2.27 per mile. And then the Midwest is coming in at $2.61 per mile for flatbed rates. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the national reefer rates on a regional basis. So in the Northeast, refrigerated average is $1.90 per mile. In the Southeast, you got $2.42 per mile. The Southwest is $2.37 per mile. The Midwest is $2.43 per mile. And then in the Pacific Northwest and West Coast is in the lead right now from a rate perspective at $2.47 per mile. Okay, so now that we've talked about van, reefer, flatbed rates, let's talk about the load to truck ratio. And just so you guys are familiar, if you look at the load boards, this is the ratio of loads to trucks at any given point, right? In any given month or any given day. So more trucks with less loads, that means rates typically go down because there's less demand. And if we have more loads and less trucks, then demand goes up for trucks and rates go up, okay? So that's the basic economic dynamics there. And so let's take a look at it. For vans in February, we had 3.2 to 1. In March, 3.71. In April, 3.59. And in May, so far, we're up to 4.93. That means there's 4.93 loads for every truck that is posted on the load boards. Okay, good. All right, so let's talk about flatbeds. In February, 15.86. March, 17.67. April, 16.37, so it went down a little bit, but so far in May, we've really bumped up, and now we have 19.4 loads per truck being posted on the DAT load board. All right, so now reefers, 4.64 in February, 5.51 in March, 5.16 in April, which was a little bit down, but in May, we've already bumped up so far to 7.91 loads per truck. So that's the load to truck ratio. And as for diesel prices, we've got good news. As of May 20th, the national average was down to $3.79 per gallon, which is down 5.9 cents per gallon, which is about 1.5% decrease week over week. But the really good news is on May 6th, diesel was at $3.89 per mile. So it's already down quite a bit, trending down, which is great news for everybody. Listen, guys, if you guys like this type of data, if you want me to continue to provide you this type of ongoing data about freight rates and load to truck ratios and fuel prices and other relevant data to help you make good decisions for your business, hit the like button, comment below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you get notified of all future updates. And listen, if you're curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I've trained over 10,000 students. I've had that program since 2009. We offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. So you can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com.